Well, this should be fun. Drake, take care. Additional thoughts. It's been an interesting week, honestly. It's almost been like a philosophical crisis in a way, because my experience with this album and with Drake and that whole topic, I finally get to experience it after having heard about it for probably 6 months now, right? And before I even get into it, I want to thank all of the Drake fans for just kind of being cool about my reaction. I know I wasn't necessarily, the kindest, I suppose. Hopefully I wasn't too rude. I don't remember exactly everything I said. I remember saying a couple things, saying he was self-absorbed, saying that he talks a lot, but he isn't saying anything. But so I appreciate the comments, because they've all been pretty good. And you guys have done well at pushing back and saying, hey, the Drake haters got to you. You came in with preconceived ideas about what this album was going to be. You came in wanting to hate on it. And I think there's some truth to that. I think there is some truth to that. It's interesting, the argument that constantly revolves around Drake and his place in hip hop and all this other stuff. But, there's another group of people, aside from the Drake haters, that got to me beforehand. The Drake fans. Because the Drake fans are the ones also saying he's the greatest of all time, he's changed rap forever, he's the best one to do it, and so on. And when I see comments like that, I start to form an expectation in my mind, like a bar. Like, hey, this is where this guy is going to be. And so after listening to Take Care for the first time, and I didn't feel like I hit that bar, that's where some of my disappointment came from. Now, that's not the fans' fault. It's not the Drake haters, the Drake haters' fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just, that's one of the challenges of coming into an album when you don't know what it's going to be, but you hear a lot about the artist beforehand. I had the same experience with Tupac. Well, actually, that's not true. I had different preconceived notions and misconceptions about Tupac going into that album that really had nothing to do with his music. It was more about him as a person. But it kind of exists in the same vein. When you just hear about someone constantly and you hear all these opinions floating around, they get into your head. And I want to point that out because it's important, because this is something that affects all of us. If I can listen to an album for the first time and kind of have a skewed view on it, what else do I have a skewed view on because of things I hear? Think about all the shit you hear in the media and who's saying what about which group of people. Anyway, I won't harp on that too much. It's just something I think is important to be aware of. So now the album. Where to begin? I think honestly with Drake, it's not that he is doing anything poorly. Or maybe I should just go through the cycle. I think initially the biggest problem I had was, I think, his lyrical content. And it was more of a general type of lyrical style. It wasn't specific. There's nothing like, Good Kid, Mad City, where there's a specific story being told or specific characters. It's not like, To Pimp a Butterfly. These songs that Drake Drake is singing, I guess fuck, I'm all fucked up right now. Should I just leave this in right here? I don't know. Yeah. He's no.
His producer, yes.
There you go. That's really what I was trying to get to, I suppose. I enjoyed the music quite a bit, but Drake didn't make the music. 40 did. He made, I think he produced almost every track. And I think Drake was listed as producing on one of them, maybe two. And so I thought, okay, I'm into the music. Maybe the lyrics aren't hooking with me, but whatever. That's okay. It's still a good album. But then when I create the divide between Drake and the producer, and then I think about Drake and what he's doing, and I think, well, maybe anybody could do that. So if that's the case, why is Drake so highly regarded? And honestly, too, even with his style, his lyrical flow, all of that kind of stuff, there's only a couple tracks where he picks up the pace and actually shows me an impressive lyrical flow. headlines I remember him going off. What was it? Make Me Proud. I think he tears off on one of them. But it's not a lot. It's not a lot. So then I got into, okay, well, does it matter? Like, why am I being so nitpicky about the lyrics? Because other artists and other songs have had lines that I wasn't impressed with. I made a big deal over the tucking the napkin into the shirt, right? And there's a couple of people in the comments saying, dude, you didn't get it. Like, you're making fun of this line and you don't even get it, which is true. I totally missed the fact that he was talking about mobsters. So I guess like the Sopranos or something like that, where, the mobsters tuck in their shirt or tuck in the napkin of their shirt and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm dumb, especially if we're talking so much shit about that line without understanding the reference. But then when I understood the reference and thought about it more, I thought it's still kind of a shit line. And it's kind of the overall problem I have with Drake in terms of his lyrics, is that the impression I consistently get from at least Take Care is that he's writing in a general sense. It's not really that specific, with the exception of Look What You've Done, because that was a great song. So he's writing in this general sense, and he sounds like someone who's just, I'm going to write this down because it sounds cool. And this sounds cool. And this sounds cool. And there's only a couple lines, I don't remember what song it was, something about how I'm using the negatives to make better pictures, Hennessy and enemies make terrible mixtures, or something like that. Like, that was a great line. I really liked that line. But aside from that and a couple others, he just didn't impress me from a lyrical content. So if he's not really impressing me with lyrics, if he's not really impressing me with flow, what's going on? Like, why is Drake so big? Why is he so popular? Why is he so talked about? And I started thinking about, okay, now I got into the rabbit hole of, okay, well, what's good music and what's bad, and how do you define all that shit? And I think that's why this debate swirls around him so much, because there are people like me, generally, who want to put like almost a quantitative value on quality in music in terms of storytelling and lyrics and sound and all this other stuff. But then the other side is those people who want to be entertained. They just want to hear something that sounds good, which is a big part of music. Like, yeah, that's the point. And I saw someone, talk about how Drake is kind of the McDonald's of music, and on one hand, that sounds like an insult, right? People would go, oh, fuck that, blah, blah. But if you think about it, okay, well, what is McDonald's? McDonald's is a massive, wildly successful burger joint. Whether you like it or not, it is. They sell more burgers probably than anybody else on the fucking planet, okay? There you go. They're crushing it with their numbers. All the metrics that anybody would use in a capitalist society as far as measuring success, McDonald's has it. And the other thing, too, is when you get into like the food analogy, you think, okay, well, is McDonald's good food? No. But do I like it? Sure. Now, I personally don't like McDonald's necessarily, but I do enjoy getting fast food from time to time, even though I know fast food is not good. I know it doesn't bring anything into my body where my body's like, hey, thanks, No. But it tastes good. I like it. I know what I'm going to get when I buy a burger from Jack in the Box or whatever. And so these concepts are really interesting because with music, like To Pimp a Butterfly is so highly regarded, but I don't listen to it very often because it's so fucking heavy. Like, it's like picking up the Oxford Dictionary or something and, I'm just going to have a light read. Like, no, it's too much, and it can be difficult to sit down and listen to in its entirety because of what it is. So then you have an album like Take Care, and you go, okay, this is really easy to listen to. I can put it on. The title track, Take Care, I really enjoy. What was it? Make Me Proud, I really enjoy. That one's cool. Look What You've Done is cool. Hell yeah, fuck her. I mean, there are good songs. It's not like I listen to this album and I hate it and I'm bored and no. And this is why I started with the video saying it was almost like a philosophical crisis for me, because it did make me really step back and go, okay, how do I define good music? And does that even fucking matter how I define it? Because my tastes are not your tastes. Your tastes are not somebody else's tastes. And if you've got a guy like Drake who, okay, yeah, maybe he isn't the best lyricist in the world. Maybe he isn't the best rapper in the world. Maybe he doesn't really make a lot of beats. But he fucking takes the whole thing and puts it together and people love it. And you can't dispute that. One of my favorite sayings has always been 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. I'm not an Elvis fan only because I've never stopped to listen to him. I've heard a couple songs and from what I heard, it was like, yeah, this guy's an amazing singer, but I've never taken the time to listen to Elvis. But this idea of 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Like, yeah, whether you like the guy or not, he's doing something right. That's all there is to it. And so this experience with me and Take Care has been grappling with that idea of, okay, here's what I prefer, but that doesn't mean it's the guideline for what is good or what is not good or what can or cannot be enjoyed. Let's see, what else? I wrote some notes. Oh, yeah, okay. So here's a great example. And this is why I will continue to listen to Drake in the future. I will do more Drake reactions in the future. I want to do, if you're reading this, then it's too late because a lot of people recommended that one and nothing was the same. Those two albums are going to happen eventually. I don't know when. The reason why is because I do not want to listen to this one album that I was not really impressed with and have that be my opinion of Drake. Now, I'm not saying the other one's going to be different. I don't know if my opinion is going to change. But the reason why is because when I listened to Tyler Creator's Igor album, I didn't like it. I'm not into that one. And a lot of people love that one. And really, Igor was a great experience because that and Whole Lotta Red are what spawned additional thoughts. And the reason why is because I did the reaction and I started reading comments. And for Igor, people said, dude, you don't get it. You don't get it. He's making fun of himself. He's making fun of how he behaves in these relationships. The album is a cycle. It constantly repeats. And so when people put these new ideas in my head and I went back and listened to it, I really started to understand, okay, this is why they enjoy this album so much. But even with that context, it just didn't click for me. It didn't click for me. I mean, that's really all there is to it. There's a couple songs on it that I like, just like Take Care has a couple songs on it that I like. But if I were to only hear Igor and go, okay, well, that's Tyler, the Creator, I don't want to hear anything else, and then formed an opinion, I would have missed out on so much music that I enjoyed because I love Cherry Bomb, I love Call Me If You Get Lost, Flower Boy, Wolf has some incredible tracks. I mean, there's a lot of music out there that Tyler's made. Now, obviously, Tyler is very different from Drake. I get that. He's evolved a lot. From what I understand, Drake doesn't really evolve a lot, and that's okay. But I just wanted to kind of share that comparison because I think it would be in poor taste for me to judge an artist off of one album. And the thing is, too, it's not like I'm sitting here saying this album is bad. It's not bad. It just didn't meet the expectation that I had in my head when people talk about the greatest of all time or the best to ever do it or changing the rap game and so on. What else? What else? I mean, I could keep kind of pounding on that, but I don't really necessarily need to. A lot of you came back and said I misunderstood Marvin's Room, that it was intentional, that he was being self-aware with that and trying to make fun of himself. But I still don't get that impression when I listen to it. I really don't get that impression. And then, you know, especially with the song like Cameras and The Good Ones Go, I like that track. But to me, it loses all meaning when you have another song where he's getting drunk and at the club and actually there's numerous songs where he's talking about, oh, I'm with the strippers and I'm with the, you know, the porn stars and all this other stuff, and then he's turning around crying about the one that got away. Like, come on, dude, you know. Also, some people left comments saying that this album really kind of has to hit you at the right time in your life, the right age, and I think there's some validity to that as well. You know, I'm early 40s. These ideas of, you know, spending $50,000 on a vacation just to see my friends smile, I think to myself, well, no, I could pay off my truck. Like, I want to, this is a terrible financial choice. I don't want to do that. Which feeds into another comment that people were making of Drake can make music where you can kind of live vicariously through him. And I can see that. And so, yeah, maybe it's fun music and it's generic in the sense that since it's not specific to him, you can kind of take it and apply it to your own life, both in the songs that are sad, the songs that are happy, so on. You know, with the concept of songs that are not specific versus generic, or that's the same thing. Anyway, there was a band that, years ago, they came out, I forget the name of the band, but the song was called Hey There Delilah, right? And this guy wrote this song to his girlfriend, who was named Delilah. She lived in New York, or she was going to school in New York, long distance relationship. And this whole song was, hey there, Delilah, how you doing in New York City, and blah, blah, blah. It was just him, acoustic guitar. That was it. The band thought, no one's going to like this song. Nobody has a girlfriend named Delilah. It's literally about your girlfriend. Like, they're going to listen to it and go, why are we hearing this song about him and her? Like, it doesn't connect to us. They stuck it on the album as a kind of a secret track, hidden track, and it blew up. It was like one of the biggest fucking songs, man, just a massive, massive single. And the band was blown away that anybody could connect with that, even though it had nothing to do with them. But, I mean, that's kind of the magic of music. You can write a song and make it really specific to you, and people connect with it. Like me, that's one thing about lyrics and sincerity is if someone's saying something specific about them and what they're struggling with, I can hear it and go, okay, this person is expressing real emotion, so now I can believe it, I can buy into it, and feel that emotion with them. With songs like from what Drake has, when they're more generic and less specific, I go, okay, well, this person is just writing a song to kind of push that emotion through, but because I'm not really buying in with you feeling this emotion, I'm also not feeling that emotion. But my experience is not everybody's experience. And there are plenty of people out there, I'm sure, who they just want to have a song that captures the vibe, the mood that they're in, the feelings they're going through. And if I take care and I step back, it does that. It does that. And that's all that really matters. Anyway, there's a long, convoluted, additional thoughts video. I don't even remember what I said. I remember stopping in the middle and almost quitting because I was all tangled up on something. Anyway, there you go. I am not a Drake hater. I did get drunk the other night in Discord and talk a bunch of shit because I was drunk and just, basically blowing off my filter. But I think also that's kind of part of hip hop now, isn't it? Like arguing about Drake and if he's good and if he's not good. Oh, I did watch the Mallory Brothers video, the Take Care versus Good Kid, Mad City. That was good too. I liked that. It was cool to watch him, the one brother, I don't know their names, but it was cool to watch him get really excited about some of these tracks because it just helped me understand that idea of, okay, if I care about specific lyrics, that's my experience, but seeing someone care about lyrics that are a little less specific and still get fired up and talk about how they feel that was cool. That helped me out a lot. Anyway, there you go. There's Drake. There's my experience with Take Care. Again, I apologize to anybody out there who felt I was being a little too harsh towards Drake. I think that is a fair assessment. And Friday is the new Denzel Curry album. I am excited. I'm looking forward to it. It already feels like it's been a year since it came out, even though it's barely been 2 weeks. Lots of shit has happened since then. And I guess that's it. I'll see you guys on Friday.